Good morning, everyone. It is February 14th, Saturday. We've got one guy shooting so far this morning. Kind of a cloudy day, as you can see. Hopefully tomorrow is better. Tomorrow's supposed to be like 55 and sunny, I think, so that'll be nice. But we are replacing all of our old batteries. Here's one of our old batteries here with all of these new interstates. As you can see, we've got the Anderson connectors already on them. However, we do not have the Andersons on all the traps. We're going to do that when we go through and wire up the receivers to mount to the traps. But these can still be used with the regular studs there. So I've actually got both front and back courses already done with these batteries. I did that 2 days ago. And then yesterday I finished wiring up all the receivers. So we've just got the 5-stand left for these batteries, and I'm going to start doing that, and then I'm going to start checking maybe today all of these old batteries with a load tester to see which ones are bad and which ones are good, because we're going to need to keep like 24, probably 25 of the old ones that are good to run the card reader at each station, and we've got 20 stations. So I'm going to run out here to the 5-stand and replace these. I've already done one, got 5 more to go. As you can see, this one is actually, it's about the same as the rest of them. These are newer, smaller traps that we have on the 5-stand. But as you can see, there's quite the menagerie of wires here. These are the old receivers, as well as having solar panels. Clearly, that solar panel is doing a whole lot. Look at that. We're going to redo all the solar panels as well that are out in the open. There's several that are out in the woods that aren't even doing anything, so we'll just take those off. But as you can see here, the squirrels have been getting into these wires pretty bad, so we're going to have to do something about that. Either wrap these up good or put some rodent repellent down or whatnot. I don't think, what is today, the 14th? Tomorrow might be the last day of squirrel season, so we may not be able to do much with on the firearms end with that. But so this is currently how these batteries are set up. It's just a standard battery clamp, and then the receiver and the charger get bolted down here with the main battery here. As you can see, like that's pretty loose. That's probably not making a very good connection. So when we put all those Andersons on, that will eliminate that problem for sure, as well as being a lot easier just doing one thing instead of these two. And then the receiver is going to be getting power through the trap. Let's see here. You probably can't see it now. On this one's actually wired up how it's supposed to be, but these have 3 wires in them. The new receivers have 3 wires in them as well. These new batteries are quite a bit heavier, but they're supposed to last a lot longer, which will be good. Get this splinter out here. As you can see, I'm having to really duck underneath here. Just saying, we're going to end up doing away with those. So just grab our cord here and our menagerie of wires, and you simply just twist it down there and kind of bites on its own. Oh, it'll be so nice. After those are replaced, then I'll go ahead and test it. I'll also test the buttons when I get back over there. We are getting a new button system for the 5-stand. Well, it's the same receivers and stuff, but it's one remote to run all 6 traps for the 5-stand. But I'll go ahead and give this a test. Yep. And I will make sure, like I said, when I go back, to make sure this remote works well, because these cords are not very good. So, on to the next one. You can see here some of the mulching that we did. This windrow or fence row came all the way over to here. We decided to knock it back, give us a few more options for the 5-stand, but we probably have to clean this up a little bit because that mulcher we had rented did not do all that great of a job. Oh, this one's pretty tight. There we go. Probably take me or us or however many we get out here. If it's just one guy wiring up the new receivers, so you gotta cut this off, strip all this back, strip the 3 wires off in there, and then put the Hirschman connector on, and then cut these off and put on a oops, get distracted here while talking, put on a Anderson connector. Probably take one guy 2 days to do the whole course, but we'll see. There we go. Okay, well, do that to the last 3 and we'll be good to go on the 5 stand. So here's the current button setup at every station. Each station just has one of these covers, which is a literal bread pan and a garage door opener. So for the 5 stand, since we got 6 traps here, 2 per, so we got 3. If I can remember, when I go back inside, I will grab the new 5 stand remote for you, and it's all one unit, and it's amazing. But let's go ahead and check these. So 1 should be coming right over our head here. Yep. 2's over there. Works. 3's way out there. There we go. 4's right out there in front. Yep. 5 is out there coming in. Oh, yeah, that looks good. And 6 is right here to the right. Sweet. They all work. Which is kind of surprising because when I did, of course, there's only 5 traps, but when I did the whole course 2 days ago, I had probably 3 or 4 that did not work just because I'd wiggled the wires just wrong. So that will be eliminated on this new system, and it'll be great. But I'm going to go in here and toss these old batteries in here. We're going to get every single old battery charged up and then load test every single one of them. And then send back whatever we don't need and get credit for that, which would be good. One thing I do think I'm going to work on real quick, you guys probably can't see, but that trap right there, the one that's uncovered, is actually one that we got on a cart as a spare. That was a trap on the number 1 station. The wiring, after we got digging into it to mount that test, we were going to test the new button system. The wiring's all messed up on it, so I brought it over here actually this morning while it's still frozen. I can get out there on the ground without tearing anything up, but I actually think I'm going to try to dig into it for a little bit, for a few, I got about 45 minutes, an hour before go get some lunch, hopefully. So I'm going to work on that till then, and then after lunch I'll probably start wiring up the last half of the receivers for the back course. But we'll hop in the skid steer and move this real quick. Oh, got the old foot pedal Bobcat. You guys saw there that cover was pretty wobbly, so be half tempted, honestly, just take it off right now. here's what we're dealing with. So this here is the nudge switch, and it was not, you're supposed to be able to shut the machine off, test fire it like that, or keep it armed like that. Well, it was off and the machine was still working. And then also whenever we put on the new receiver, how it was supposed to be on there was not working. Played with it a little bit and it just continued to throw, so that's clearly not right. But we're gonna dig into it. Kind of menagerie of things in here, but see what happens. I'll be honest, I'm not a real educated in the world of electricity. This is obviously only just 12 volts, and I can wire up obviously basic 12 volt stuff, but you start getting in here where it's got these extra test fire buttons and whatnot, and these relays and this extra on off switch. Why they have a nudge button, a test fire button, and an on off switch is I'm not really for sure. So have to go get a battery, hook it up, and start testing for hot and whatnot, and see what I can figure out. Probably not much. Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, February 17th. It's been a few days since I talked to you guys last. Last time I was talking to you, we were working on this trap here, and I honestly forgot to grab a camera after I did some problem solving. I should say me and my buddy. My buddy Ben stopped by, and we were going to go after some squirrels because we have a really bad squirrel problem here. We're chewing up the wiring for all of our traps. So we ended up going out for about an hour. Didn't get anything, unfortunately. But we came back and we started looking at this trap, and finally I actually figured it out. I was really surprised that we did figure it out. As you saw, this menagerie of wiring down here. There's one of the Hirschman connectors I got put on there to test it with one of the new receivers. But just started looking at it and realized that, hey, a couple of these things don't look right here as far as where power and grounds go. So just started playing with wires, hooking up in different spots, and actually got it figured out. So this trap is good to go. I might actually move this back to the station 1. I actually probably won't put it back in the same spot, just to kind of switch up the presentation a little bit. Won't necessarily stay there, but just, hey, it's on the skid steer, so may as well make it different. But as you can see, that right there is not a very good look. So we need to, it's supposed to be pretty warm this week, but we're going to focus on working on these buttons, get them wrapped up. So probably won't be able to power wash this building this week, but maybe the next warm stretch we have. So we'll go in here and get the mule pulled out, because we actually have to go to the other trap on station 1, and I'll show you when we get over there. But on the throwing arm that throws the target, the rubber's starting to come off, and either it'll break the clay or it will throw it in a different direction. So we're going over there and get that pulled off. While we're in here, here is 25 of the old batteries that we had. So you can see we got nothing on the old charging station here. 25 of the old batteries that we had. We actually got one more old one there on station 1 that we were using to test with, and then an old one in the clubhouse, but that one's going to stay there to run the spare unit for the card system that we have to show people how to use it. But these 25 are good. We did load tests on them, and those are going to be at each station on the course to run the card system. Luckily, these are all look to be fairly new, and according to the load tests, they should be decent batteries for now, so I hope they'll last us at least a few years. So here's what we're looking at. This is the front of the trap that is throwing up that way. There's station 1 right there. As you can see, it's missing a good portion of the rubber arm. Here's what a new one looks like. You can see all nice and solid all the way down. And if I can show you how this works, I will here. You can look down inside there. So that arm will swing around, go up against the target, and then essentially push it out, throwing it out. I personally didn't change the last one of these that we did. The guy that we got working for us, Dave, most of you watching this probably know who he is, did it, and I watched him, and I think, if I remember right, we had to loosen up the spring So I'll have to do that, and that way I can spin the arm around freely, essentially, I think. I don't know, Dave's probably gonna be watching this being like, no, you're doing it all wrong, but we'll just do this trial by error and see how it goes. Okay, so we're gonna need a 3/4 inch end wrench to loosen this spring. I tell you what, let me get a permanent marker, that way I know about where it was. That way we don't have to waste targets, or as made targets, throwing it to get it set back. Don't know if it's gonna stay after I take the nut over it, but we'll see. There we go. Back this loose as this shall go. There we go. Also give you guys a little bit of a preview of these, how we're gonna have this new wiring set up. Here's the new receiver connected through a Hirschman. Here is the Anderson's connected to the battery. And then this is for the nudge switch. We need to rewire a lot of these nudge switches because they're all exposed. Get them back in nice weather type packaging. But so whenever we have to change a battery, I think I was changed a couple old, or you guys saw when I was putting on these new batteries on the 5 stand, how the clamps fit on there. Well, all we got to do is just pop that off, put a new battery on, pop it on, be good to go. So that'll make things way easier. But let's get back to this rubber piece. I have to maybe go source some of these Allen screws because we're missing quite a few of them. But yeah, see, look at that. Falls right off there. Now, I'm thinking I might have to drill out the holes on that new strip because these traps out here are 2 different sizes with the these bolts. Let's spin this around. It's got a little bit of tension on it. There goes that target. Swing this around here. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm going to have to nudge it. There we go. That's why I did the carousel down there. That way we don't keep loading targets. There we go. There we go. That was pretty simple. Let's get this spring tightened back up and give it a few throws. Just stay back there and watch this, please. Good enough.
Arm it.
Yeah. So who really knows if we're gonna be able to get this tilted up high enough with just this sitting on the pallet. That's why like that one over there is propped up like it is, because when they're on these pallets, they don't tilt back as far as they can like on those trailers, because those trailers have a little bit of tilt when they're not connected, or the cart I should say. So that's another reason why we're wanting to get those carts, is it'll make the changing of the presentations a lot easier instead of having to go and get blocks and stuff to stick underneath there. But we'll see what we can do. They're just sitting like this, and then if we have to prop it up, we will, but we didn't really like how that looks, so we'll see. Okay, so all I did, or all I could do on this trap, is loosen that nut right there. Allowed it to tilt back. I actually honestly didn't realize it on this trap, and I know there's a couple more out there. They have no side-to-side tilt, which is quite unfortunate. But since we're going to be getting rid of 2 stations, going down to 10 on the front, that will leave us with 4 extra traps. So we'll probably honestly trade those for some newer ones to just keep updating some things. So that'll be nice. We'll give this a toss, but this is probably going to have to be tilted up with a board, unfortunately. But that's just how it's going to have to be for now. Well, we got it all jacked up how it needs to be. As you can see, they don't look the best when they're like that, but like I said, hopefully we'll get some carts here soon and be able to change that. But show you guys the presentation. Normally I would bring a gun out here and shoot it, just because why not. Obviously when we get to the back course and start changing stuff back there, make sure it's even actually possible to hit. Don't want to make it too hard. But I took my shotgun home last night. I got to make a few modifications to it, so we just have to shoot it imaginarily here. But here we go. Oh, should be pretty easy. Here's a nice true pair. So that'll be like that here for a little bit. May end up changing it once we get all the new buttons on and go through and make changes to everything else. So I think that'll be all for this video. I do appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you at the next one.